Today I just wanted to show you a journal I've made recently. This is for a Kris Kringle gift at work, and I'm filming it mostly as a record of the journals I've made, so something that I have to look back on, because often I take photos, don't necessarily film, and forget what the pages inside look like. So this journal is made using the Amity Bloom Artist in Bloom course, and I've made several of these before. I've made the cover slightly different this time, and it's using a textile which I'm not sure how old it is, maybe 70s, maybe 80s, came from Italy. I was recently gifted a whole bunch of this kind of printed textile. These are some napkins, but in the set was table runners, a tablecloth, a bread cover, an apron and some other things, and I was actually going to donate them but decided that I quite liked this pattern, and I've used, I think it was the table runner, to create the cover and used that pattern on the spine. And these colours were the inspiration for the journal itself. So this dark blue and green with this brown. So quite an unusual colour scheme for me, not something that I would normally use. I tend to go for the pinks, blues, lighter pastel colours. So it was quite fun to use something different this time. So on the cover, I found some of this trim in those colours, some textile, some stamps, and I think this was meant to be on a brooch or earrings or something like that. I found it at the reuse centre. I've added some texture paste and some lace at the side. And again, it's different to my normal style of making this kind of journal in that it doesn't have any vintage ephemera or paper on the inside. It's all quite modern, as scrapbook paper, lace and stamps and things. So I'm quite happy with the style of this journal, and it came together much quicker than using all of the vintage items. And I think that's because I didn't really hesitate to use the newer pieces. Whereas if I'm cutting up something old, I always deliberate and can never quite bring myself to cut things up straight away. So this scrapbook paper, again, was a colour scheme that I used throughout the book, and I think works quite nicely with this lace at the front. And so I filled it with a few pieces of ephemera, some vintage stamps and tea cards in we say maybe a folky kind of storybook vibe. I think folk is what I would use to describe that. The flip out here with some more scrapbook paper, and this is the cutout that came as part of the stitched piece from the Tim Holtz die. And quite by chance, I had it on this page at the top, and when I closed it and opened it, it had fallen there, and I thought, oh, it looks much better there, and so I kept it. So that was a happy accident. So flip out, I've used some trim from a pair of shorts, which I'm slowly cutting up and using quite a bit from. This piece here came from the cover of a pillowcase, I think. Got a few things in here. Now, the person I'm gifting it to actually runs a micro brewery store with her partner, so I've included some old beer mats that I've had, and I'm actually glad to use these because I've had them sitting around for many years. That's a little pouch with I never know which way this one goes. The Very Hungry Caterpillar card. I found this as part of a card game. So I've used quite bright, fun ephemera pieces. Got some trim at the side. And when you open up I've included a few cards. She's also getting married next year, so I thought it might be fun to include a vintage wedding invitation that I found. Now, normally when you would make this kind of journal, you would leave the inside cover quite blank, but I decided to line it with some fabric that matched in with these colours here. And I really like the way that that's looking with the lace pocket. What I've also done differently this time is used a little bit of fabric trim on the outside of each of the signatures, which I think gives it a nice detail. And I've left all of the pages unembellished and undecorated apart from some fabric tabs. And I've tried to keep those within the colour scheme of that kind of bright and bold colours, mainly blues and greens and some brown. Found some bits and pieces to add. I've added a few flip out envelopes, again all unembellished and blank, so that the person receiving it can do what they like with the journal. I have added a bag here, and I have made, it's another one of those beer mats. I have made some large cards for journaling or doodling, sketching. This one's covered in a napkin that I got from H&M, I think, recently, and I thought the colours worked really well with this. So even though this is not a colour scheme I would normally use, I was surprised to see how many pieces I could find that worked very well with it, which was very nice. Just got a bit of a closure here using an old playing card. Some really nice trim at the side. It's another one of the vintage beer mats. I really like the colour scheme on this one, and thankfully I have quite a few of these, so I was happy to include one. There's an envelope on the back. And that's the end of the first signature. In the middle of the journal, I've decided to create a blank book. The recipient does enjoy sketching and drawing, and did mention that once upon a time she wanted to participate in the sketchbook project, and we talked about doing that together. So I thought it might be fun for her just to have a blank journal that she can use and pull out and carry separately. And I thought these, I really like the way that this pattern matches the theme of the book. So on the second signature, I've added some more fabric, and I've used some old wallpaper as the cover for this, and just filled it with very similar pages to the first signature. All left blank, just like the first one. A few of the pages have been embossed. I've added just a little card that I got from Typo and have had sitting around forever. This cute little envelope with the bird on it. Another one of these little closures using a tea card. It's another journaling card. I've used an old Reader's Digest book page for this. I think it's in Dutch. And just added some coffee dyed paper on the back. It's another one of the beer mats. And another envelope. And at the back I've put in just another one of these little pockets with another vintage invitation inside. And on the back just a piece of scrapbook paper. And on the inside of the back cover, I've also used another napkin which I've adhered to the inside cover just with some matte medium. It's quite a dark napkin, so I think it blends nicely with the fabric on the inside. But I thought the theme, you know, with the little deer went quite nicely with the journal itself. The back section is blank, apart from this button and circle envelope. Now, I've noticed that this is a bit tricky to get out, but I've just put in a few more bits and pieces. Well, there's another card in there. Hopefully she doesn't have as much trouble taking it out that I do. And just some more scrapbook paper. I've used another piece of the Textile as a fabric pocket, and inside is a notelet and another journaling card. Here I've put in another vintage card. I think I got this one from Sarah at the Mushroom Market. I fell in love with these little cats when I saw them in her shop. Absolutely gorgeous. It's another beer mat. And in this pocket here I've included a card, trying to keep the colours and maybe the theme similar. And the back section has some journaling cards that she can use in a music paper pocket. And this image here came from some promotional material from Lush store, and I really like this catalogue that it came from. And on the back cover I've just used some scrapbook paper and added a T card, a stamp and some texture paste. And I really like the way that these colours sit along with the spine here and the layers of the paper behind it and the lace. I think it all looks really nice. So I'm really pleased with the way that this one turned out. It came together really quickly, which surprised me, because in the past when I've made these kinds of journals, I've really taken a long time deliberating on the materials that I use and the way I decorate it. So I think it was a really fun experience working with a different colour scheme and maybe a different theme that I would normally use, even though I still have a lot of florals and lace and things in here. So it's quite a nice squishy journal, has quite a bit of room to grow, I think, and hopefully the recipient has fun filling it. So I hope you've enjoyed having a peek inside this journal, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.